Here's the thing nobody says out loud. $4 million in Metro Vancouver doesn't buy you exactly what you think it does. And depending on where you buy, the difference between two homes at the exact same price is honestly kind of staggering. Stay with me because you're going to start seeing this market in a completely different way. I'm Nancy. I specialize in Metro Vancouver luxury market, specifically helping families navigate the home purchases in this market. This video is a neighborhood by neighborhood breakdown on what $4 million actually gets you, real numbers. And we're going to look at the homes and compare side by side. We're covering West Vancouver, Dunbar, Shaughnessy, Point Grey, and one of Burnaby's neighborhood that generally surprises everyone that I bring it to. We're also going to go through the costs that nobody talks about, the ones that show up after you sign. And if you're seriously shopping in this price range right now or getting close, this one's built for you. And if you want to talk through your specific situation, there's a link in the description to book a free call with me. We'll map out exactly what you're looking for, run through our full buyer needs analysis, and make sure you're only looking at homes that actually make sense for your family. It saves you a lot of time in the end. All right, let's get into it. Before we get into the neighborhood, let me give you the context where this market is right now. We are in a buyer's market. Detached home sales jumped 14% year over year in April 2026, while condos slowed down. What that means is if you're shopping at $4 million, negotiating power that didn't exist 2 to 3 years ago, a home that had 3 competing offers in 2021 might sit today. And sellers know this. That's a very different conversation. Now, $4 million in Metro Vancouver, depending on where you buy, you could be looking at a modest older home on a very desirable street or a newer build with mountain views, a theater room, and enough bedrooms for the whole family, plus guests. Same budget, wildly different reality. And there's one neighborhood I'm going to show you in a few minutes that almost nobody in this price range considers. But when you see what it has to offer, it might change the entire conversation. West Vancouver. For a lot of buyers at this price range, this is the dream. The views, the prestige, the address, and there's a reason that reputation has never faded. West Vancouver has consistently ranked as one of the wealthiest municipalities in Canada, and it's not a recent development. The British properties were literally built by the Guinness family, who privately financed the Lionsgate Bridge just to make the land accessible. When people talk about generational wealth and legacy addresses, this is one of the places they're talking about. Here's the honest reality in 2026. The average sold price across West Van is now $2.4 million, down 9% from last year. So at $4 million, you're well above that average. That actually puts you generally impressive territory. So what does $4 million buys you specifically? Typically 3,500 to 5,000 square feet, 4 to 5 bedrooms, often a significant lot. In Ambleside or Dunbar, you might be 1 block or 2 blocks from waterfront. In the British properties or Chartwell, mountain views, privacy, and those quiet winding streets West Van is known for. Some homes at this price range will include pools, triple car garage, chef's kitchen, fully move-in ready. Others will be older homes on exceptional lots, and you're really buying the land and the location. That's an important distinction. Know what you're paying for. Next up, the Vancouver West Side. And this is where the $4 million story starts getting really interesting. Dunbar is one of those Vancouver West Side neighborhoods that doesn't really get the spotlight enough, but honestly, it should. It has quietly been one of Vancouver's most sought after family neighborhoods for decades. It just doesn't advertise itself. It borders Pacific Spirit Park, which gives you 763 acres of forest trails essentially as your backyard. For families who want top schools, walkable streets, and the nature right outside the door, very few neighborhoods in the city actually delivers all three. And speaking of schools, Lord Byng Secondary, one of the most sought after schools here in Vancouver, is actually named after Viscount Byng of Burnaby, the Governor General of the center of Canada's most famous constitutional crisis. Not many neighborhoods have a school that kind of have that history attached to it. The average listing in Dunbar right now is about $3.47 million. So at $4 million, you're above market average, which means you have range. So what does $4 million get you? Well, typically a renovated detached home, 4 to 5 bedroom, 3,700 to 4,600 square feet, a 40 42 to 50-foot lot, higher end finishes, and modern kitchens, often a legal suite. And one thing I want to highlight for buyers comparing Dunbar to West Van is that in Dunbar, your $4 million is most likely to get you a newer turnkey home with modern finishes. In West Van, you might be getting a more established property with bigger lot. Neither is better. It just depends entirely on what your family actually needs. I'm curious, which neighborhood surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Coming up, I'm going to show you a neighborhood that's going to make a lot of people rethink everything. And after that, a cost breakdown that you might be surprised about. Shaughnessy. This is the neighborhood that was designed by the Canadian Pacific Railway in 1907 with one specific goal: to be the most prestigious address in Vancouver permanently. The winding streets, the oversized lots, the setback, and none of that was accidental. Over a century later, it's one of the only neighborhoods in the city where they actually kept the original vision and it's still completely intact. Here's the truth. $4 million in Shaughnessy, you're at the entry point. Third Shaughnessy starts at around 4.5 to 6 million. First and second Shaughnessy, where the grand estate homes are, you're starting at $7 million and going well beyond. So at exactly 4 million, you're in the Shaughnessy adjacent streets. Still incredible homes, still that character architecture, still those tree-lined boulevards. But what draws families specifically beyond the prestige is 3 of BC's top private schools are located right in or adjacent to this neighborhood. York House, Vancouver College, Little Flower Academy. For those families where school selection is a core part of this decision, and many of my clients are, that's not a small thing. The homes you'll find here at $4 million are typically heritage character properties, 4 to 5 bedrooms, generous size, architectural details that you cannot replicate in new builds. Some will need updating, some are fully restored, so factor in renovation potential into your overall financial plan here. This is a neighborhood for buyers who want legacy, permanence, and an address that means something. Okay, this is the neighborhood I mentioned at the start, the one that consistently surprises my clients when I bring it up: Buckingham Heights and Deer Lake in South Burnaby. The most prestigious neighborhood in Burnaby, with an average home price of just under $3 million, which means you're at a good budget. So what does $4 million actually buys you here? Executive level custom homes, 5 to 9 bedrooms, smart home systems, engineered hardwood, skylight, gourmet kitchen, and Miele and Sub-Zero appliances, theater rooms, multiple gas fireplace, covered outdoor entertainment deck on generous lot, often with mountain or treetop views. And then there's Deer Lake Park, 110 acres of protected green space right on your doorstep. A lake kayaking, walking the trail, the Chabot Center of Arts, the Burnaby Art Gallery and Museum. It is one of the most underrated lifestyle assets in all of Metro Vancouver. And Buckingham Heights residents live right beside it. For families who want a genuine lifestyle, not just a house, this area quietly offers something most $4 million Vancouver addresses simply can't match. Now the trade-off, and I want to be straight with you, it's a Burnaby address, not a Vancouver address. So commute into downtown is a factor, and with traffic, it's about 45 to 50 minutes. But here's the math: you get significantly more home, more bedrooms, more square footage, more lot for the exact same $4 million. I've seen families spend weeks debating West Side neighborhoods and then spend one afternoon in Buckingham Heights and stop debating. Comment below, are you a West Side loyalist, or would you consider Burnaby for the right home? Genuinely curious where people land on this. Point Grey. This neighborhood was its own independent municipality before merging with Vancouver in 1929, and it's retained that distinction, almost self-contained character ever since. The access to Jericho and Spanish Bank beaches is unmatched anywhere else on the west side. It's one of those neighborhoods where the lifestyle is an asset, which is exactly why the average listing price here sits at $5 million. So at $4 million, you're below the neighborhood average. You'll find a home, but you're looking at lower end of what's available. Older homes, smaller footprint, possible renovation requirements. My honest take, if your heart is set on Point Grey, you gotta stretch that budget if you can. At $4 million, you'll find a home there, but it may not be the Point Grey you're imagining. Now, coming up next is the part that people might skip entirely, and it's honestly one of the most valuable things I can give you in this video. The hidden costs. The hidden costs about buying a home like this. So let's go through it. Property transfer tax on a $4 million purchase in BC is $118,000 due on completion date in cash. It cannot be added into your mortgage. With 20% down payment, about $800,000, you're financing about $3.2 million. At today's rate, around 4.5% on a 25-year amortization, your monthly mortgage payment is approximately $17,800 per month. Now, property taxes on a $4 million home is roughly about $12,000 a year. That's about $1,000 per month. The additional school tax on properties above $3 million is approximately $2,000 annually on a $4 million home. There's also legal fees, title, insurance, inspections, and minor touch-ups when you move in, so budget for about $5,000 to $10,000. Total cash to close on a $4 million house is approximately $930,000. Now, I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but I'm saying it because buyers who know this going in make better decisions and better offers. So where does $4 million go furthest in Metro Vancouver right now? My honest answer, it depends on what your family actually optimizing for. If you want prestige and proximity, West Van or Dunbar are generally compelling right now. Prices have softened. You have negotiating room that didn't exist 2 years ago. If you want legacy and an iconic address, Shaughnessy and Point Grey might be the answer. Just go in knowing that you're at the entry point and factor renovation potential into your budget. If you want to maximize space, exceptional build quality, and a lifestyle that's generally hard to beat, and you're not attached to a Vancouver postal code, Buckingham Heights is the most underrated answer on this list. Whatever your priority is, school catchments, views, commute, space, legacy, here's a version of $4 million that works for you. The key is knowing what you're actually optimizing for before you start shopping. That's something that I love helping people figure out. If you've toured homes in any of these areas, share what you found. Your experience might actually help someone else watching this. So West Vancouver, Dunbar, Shaughnessy, Buckingham Heights, Point Grey, 5 very different answers to the same $4 million question. And the right answer depends entirely on what your family actually needs, not just what sounds prestigious. The market right now generally favors buyers in this range. Inventory is up, prices have softened, sellers are negotiating. If you've been watching from the sidelines, this window is worth paying attention. If this was useful, I just covered the full Metro Vancouver market outlook for the second half of 2026. It's linked right here, and I think it gives you a lot more context for everything we just went through. And if you want to talk about your specific situation, where you're coming from and what you're looking for, what your timeline looks like, that's a free call in the description. I talk to families in your exact position every single day, and I love it. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today. I'll see you in the next one.